Hello and welcome to Battle 17 of the MTWGG Grand Summer Tournament. This battle is being fought between Explicit DA and V.O.D. VLAD. Now this is one of the semi-final battles of the tournament, and therefore there will be two separate conflicts within this video. The first one here, we see VLAD playing the Holy Roman Empire. The reason there are two battles is that in this tournament the system is set up so that it's kind of the best 2 out of 3, you know. Which works for me. Gives us more exciting things to watch. Loads and loads of heavy infantry here, backed up by really quite heavy knights back there. Here we can see Explicit DA has come to the field with Sicily. Oh man, they're bright. Woo. Hurts my eyes a little bit. Here we see V.O.D. VLAD moving forward here. This is interesting here. It looks like V.O.D. VLAD had directed his crossbowmen to pick at the Knights Hospitaller there, forcing Explicit to move his men a little further back. Forces of the Empire just stand here all resolute. It's interesting to note that VLAD seems to be dedicating his crossbowmen to firing in on the heavy infantry there, at least a little bit. As opposed to Explicit's men, who are firing primarily on the crossbowmen. It hasn't necessarily taken many of Explicit's men, the crossbow fire, but it has forced him to move his lines back. And as you can see here, VLAD has no problem with basically sacrificing his crossbowmen in order to get that little extra range in on the enemy heavy infantry. Here's a full-on charge. DA moves his troops forward there a bit. Ooh, it got caught in the flanks there. That's painful. The flank there too. He's backing up his cavalry with infantry there, as you can see. We've seen that tactic quite often. Ooh. General's bodyguard pounds into the German line. There's some routed lancers. A rout over here. That's not good. Not good for Sicily. Some Teutonic knights pinning the general's bodyguard in place. Looks like his general's been caught there. That's no good for Sicily. The rout started over there on the Empire's left flank, Sicily's right, and then kind of just carried down. Didn't help, of course, that there was routing going on over here as well, which made that middle line, who did indeed, as you can see, push the Germans back a bit. Made them buckle and break. So that's the first victory to V.O.D. VLAD there. And here we have the second battle of the series. This time we're viewing it from Explicit DA's side. Well, the second battle of this video, of their semi-final conflict. Looks like he's brought Spain some heavy knights, of course. Dismounted heavy knights. All the heavy infantry. Some peasants there. Probably to kind of provide a bit of a meat shield. Looks like over here on this side, looks like V.O.D. VLAD is going to be fielding the Russians. Loads of axe-wielding heavy infantry. Some woodsmen for the initial charge, it looks like. Neither side has fielded many ranged units. It looks like Explicit brought some javelin men to the conflict. And we can see the woodsmen colliding with the peasants there. So the Russian cavalry just pushes right in. Peasants routing on the Spanish side. Russian cavalry pulls out to allow space for the Bardies to go in there and finish things up. Wow, that's a pretty brutal rout right there in the center. It's Boyar sons come into conflict with these chivalric knights. Russians are very heavy over here on this side. They're just cutting right through those chivalric knights. Those axes are rending that armor right apart, I suppose. Not necessarily an expert myself on every unit and their specific capabilities, but I'm sure that the axemen have some sort of bonus against armor, similarly to people wielding maces or whatnot, as opposed to whacking away with swords. Of course, the sword advantage there is indeed the thrust. Get up in between the chinks in the enemy's armor. Looks like these javelin men are toe-to-toe with some boyar sons, who are of course heavy infantry versus skirmish infantry, so they're getting cut down. Some harsh fighting over here on the Russian left. Spaniards are trying to break them there, and looks like they have successfully done so, at least with some of the units. The problem therein lies that the Russians still have a very large number of units still that are not routing, that they can then bring over here, as you can see them doing right here, into support. Oh, there's still a unit of peasants around. Look at that. Run down and slaughtered. Brought some feudal knights back here, coming in for the final charge. Oof. Oh! Spain just keeps tossing men against them. Won't go down without a fight, without taking a few more guys with them. That's admirable. But the Russian horde just pushes right through. Pushes right through and routs. Well, congratulations to V.O.D. VLAD. He will be moving on to the final conflict in this tournament. And then it'll be a fight between him and... I believe it'll either be a fight between him and Rogue Assassin or him and Swissman 15. Be sure to check back later to find out the victor of this tournament, who will be crowned champion. Have a good evening.